Everybody. It's really nice to have you here this morning, seeing some good faces on Saturday morning where it's gorgeous out and you guys are choosing to be inside to do some yoga. So great, attending to the needs of your body and your heart, and I really appreciate that. And it's also I tend to go through cycles, cycles and phases of growth and expansion. And summertime is a great time for being in the light and being in this great energy where we feel upbeat and positive, and it's like a natural, place of expansion. Sunshine is illuminating. The summer breeze, it like just makes us feel a little bit more positive, hanging out. We tend to socialize a little bit more and spend time with friends and family or get some quiet refuge in nature. And, those are all really positive, affirming, heart filling things. What can sometimes happen after you get some rest is that then you come over the crest. And once the letdown starts to happen, then the unwinding and the real, kind of like boogeymen sometimes we'll call them, or like the shadows will start to appear at the edges. And maybe you don't want to like look at that stuff because we're so happy being in the expansion place. No, 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 stay in the light, stay in the light. But it can be really nourishing to also explore that swing back into the shadow a bit. And I was going through old photographs, and I've become obsessed with this beautiful little app lately called Art Card that gives you these like great filters, and you can play with these filters and turn any of your photographs into these beautiful paintings. So I'm going back through old, like just old photographs and looking through things, and I came across my mom's memorial stuff and all of these beautiful old pictures of my mom, and it's been about 7 months since she passed in December. And I saw the video that somebody had made during the memorial class that I taught for her. And I said, oh, let me watch that. Let me put that on. It was Heart Chakra Month. So it really felt, it was like, and I was talking about how, of course, it was during Heart Chakra Month that I had to deal with this massive grief. And of course, it was after I had been holding space for people to access their grief. And we were, doing all kinds of work that month for me to hold this sensitive space for people to be vulnerable and really, touch those tender places. And it was really poignant to watch that video this morning and like feel it again. It's like, oh yeah, how far I've come, but also how raw I still feel. So there's a lot of beauty to be had with exploring these heavier things when you're feeling light, right? Sometimes our tendency is to like go in and then we just chew. And if we're already low, like wintertime was already a low period for me, I didn't really want to kind of go back over and review. And it was just intense to get out of bed, So like for a few months in the wintertime, it was really heavy, and I just didn't really want to do much other than exist and sleep and exist and sleep and do, small things. And there were moments of beauty and joy and peace, but it was definitely a rough winter. So as the summer, reveals itself and I'm feeling really grounded and grateful and good, and I've had some time to let down. It's a nice time to now also remember the beauty of my mother's life and to go back in. So it's not so painful right now to witness it. So if there's something that's kind of big and up energy in you, that if you're feeling good and you're like just want to keep riding that high expansion, great. Set your intention for your practice to fill up even more so that when you kind of come over the crest, you have a little bit more courage to face it, and you don't like immediately push it away or try to make yourself busy or just avoid the sensation again, because resiliency and the heart becomes more resilient, and we can tolerate and stay really grounded in intense cycles of emotion when we do the work to fill ourselves up when we're feeling good. It's really easy to be content when everything's going your way. This true practice of contentment is to stay in the center space of your okayness while the storm is raging outside. There's a spiritual text in the yogic tradition called the Bhagavad Gita that is like a real pinnacle of yogic philosophy about non-duality. And they speak about yoga in all of these different ways and what it actually is. And the heart of the yogi. There's this beautiful passage about what it is to really connect to what it means to be the heart of a yogi. The heart of a yogi is an unflickering candle flame in a windless place. It's protected by, if you can imagine that you have this hurricane lamp inside of you, that is, it doesn't matter what kind of storm is raging, we have this peace, this unshakable, unswerving fortitude that is there. And if we go back in and we tend to that flame and we tend to that connection and we tend to that peace and we tend to that connection, when things are going wrong or our mind is like the storm, you can bathe then in that center space again. So you need practice to trust that, to trust the quiet connection to that inner space when the practice gets challenging, right? So especially this month, because we're inviting 3 back bends in a row, six back bends in a row, basically. As you go into the deeper parts where you're like, this is hard, I don't feel like, maybe this is the edge, maybe this hurts, maybe this is too intense, maybe I can't do this. Back out, breathe. Do the best you can to stay in the center connected space with your breath, and every breath you can stay, you're getting stronger. It like then fortifies that capacity that you have to be able to go to that next place next time. And that's really what we're doing to our nervous systems. We're encoding it with like more resiliency. The more you practice with this quality of expansion and light, the more you will attract that into your experience as well. If you're in a swing and you're in a low swing, and maybe you're here because you need something to fill you back up, it's okay too. Be in the low, explore that kind of internal movement with it, and then see what does compassion feel like right now? What does contentment feel like right now? Maybe in the past we needed all kinds of things in order to be content. And now I'm just content with like this little piece of myself and this little quiet space, and I can fill back up in there. I don't need a lot. I don't need a lot to get back to center. And that's really what the gift of this practice can be. And that's what really that true resiliency is. I don't need my mom to be back in order to remember all of the beauty. I don't need certain things to be undone in order to celebrate with gratitude what we have when we're here. I don't need, bad things to stop happening. I just want more of a connection to myself so that I can endure when those times come. So if you're in that low place too, it's like remind yourself that there's always a swing. That's what this place is about. That's what this whole place is about, is duality. It swings. We have these highs and lows, the expansion, contraction, and if you are willing to explore both the polarity of the expansion and the contraction, you'll find that you can pull yourself back to center more, and you won't feel so just buffeted by like every external thing that happens to you all the time, like rugs getting pulled out from underneath you and trying to get back, grounded again. You'll have an ability to do that. And after speaking to a lot of the yogis that that I've been holding space for these past 6 years since we've been open, we really discovered our mood swings and these shifts don't really go away if you tend towards, like for myself, anxiety, right? My anxious brain is still pretty loud. And what I've learned is that I used to get thrown off by that anxious brain, and I would let it completely derail me and take away all kinds of energy, and I'd be in a funk for like a week. Now, when I have like an anxious kind of like moment, anxiety, these thoughts that are like repeating, it's like, I know this is going to change. My anxiety brain is never right. It's always telling me worst case scenarios. Most of the time, it's the opposite. If I can just ride through these sensations and not react, it's going to be okay. And that's how I can do it. I get back to my center, and then I'm actually able to get back a lot faster. I'm able to get back to work. I'm able to get back to myself. I'm able to then respond to life instead of just constantly reacting to it. So if there's something that you're working with that way, plant some seeds of intention to not make all of your bad things with air quotes, right? Our negative tendencies, our anxieties, our fears, our doubts, they're all going to come. They're still going to be there. But what we can do is cultivate the sense of getting back. I can get back. I can claim this again. I have the strength to do this now. I can endure this. I can get over this. I mean, my anxiety brain, would I like it to go away? Sure. Would I like to completely transform my entire psyche persona to never deal with anxiety again? Yeah. Is that realistic? Not really. It's my constitution. It's just kind of a part of my nature. And there's a lot of things. The older you are, the longer you have these tendencies and these patterns of behavior, the harder it is going to be to change them. So we just kind of accept that. Accept where you are with a little bit more grace and flexibility, and even dare to enjoy the process. It's like, oh, this feels terrible right now. Imagine how good it's going to feel after you're done. Just check into that shavasana at the end when you really expand and use your energy. By the time you get to the end, it's like, thank you, Jesus. This is so sweet. I feel so good right now. And then you leave. And it's like, oh, I didn't die. I could actually endure that intensity. I can actually ride this a little bit more. So you'll be really, your confidence builds as you work with these energies too. And then you're not so undone and kind of thrown into the gutter when things happen. So let's make some collective intention for that today, to bear witness to where you are in that polarity and be at peace so that we can attend to that center space and become more resilient together. So let's close our eyes and come inside to that. If you haven't done so already, you can support yourself lifting and lengthening out of your lower back. And it's always good to connect to your core a little bit to help you stay connected to that center. So if you feel like your pelvis is tipping, we want to bring it into a neutral position. Lift and lengthen up out of your lower back. Give a very gentle hug of your navel toward the spine. And feel your sternum tracking up. Give your shoulders a little roll, up, back, and down, really releasing them away from the ears. Unhinge your jaw. I feel a soft opening through the crown of the head. Your eyes are gently closed, but if you feel like you have to force a boring spot to focus on the floor about 3 feet ahead of you, let your eyes go to half mast. Eventually, they might close on their own. Today, how do you feel in your body? If you're a little tired, or where's your digestion? How's your energy level? I notice any chronic conditions, and it's without judgment. It's really witnessing. So you start to scan then your mind and your heart. What thoughts and feelings have been rattling around? And do you notice their physical counterparts? If we touch any spots of pain or contraction, you just look at them lovingly with compassion. We start to shift the energy with your breath. As you inhale, really flood all the way down to the pelvic floor. And gush it out. Sounding or sighing if it feels good. We're going to do that 2 more times together. Inhale deeply and really fill up. Let it go. Last time. Inhale deeply. Maybe your shoulders creep up a little bit. And then let them drop. And allow your breath to become fluid, deep, and slow, this time with your mouth closed, layering in your ujjayi breathing. Ujjayi is an oceanic sound constricting the back of the throat on the inhales and the exhales. It's the same muscles that you use when you whisper or if you're trying to fog up a mirror. If you're not sure of the breath just yet, have your mouth open, and it's like you're trying to fog up a mirror. When you've got it, close the lips, and then we keep that sound and breath going. It will help you to transmute whatever it is that you are churning up. We set our collective intentions to bear witness to where we are in the polarity of our emotional fields. If we're feeling groovy and expansive, Then we build it up even more so we can be more resilient when the time comes. If we're in a lower swing, we hold ourselves tenderly in that quiet space of the heart, bathing in it to restore and replenish, protected and surrounded by our own energy. When we open the practice, we join our energy together by chanting Om 3 times. Inhale deeply for Om.
So I have not